Hello everyone, good noon and happy Christmas. So today we are going to speak about tell you the story of the dream of the red chamber. As I will give you a little bit synopsis before I start this. Like the sinologist John Metaphor was involved in the complete translation of the read of the Red Chamber in the 1980s can testify to the novel's enduring popularity and quality as a magic window into the Chinese mind. Mention of it triggers an instant gleam of recognition and open up new possibilities of communication. At that time, it also a tremendous challenge. Depending on the edition and translation, the reader has to process well over 300 characters with names that all sound similar to the Western ear. It features an eclectic mix of elusive, expressionistic prose and poetry in the one hand, and realistic, scientific social criticism on the other. The sexual act is circumscribed as the sport of cloud and rain. Mortal illness are cured with yummy swallow's nest, and tea is made from the previous year melted snow. Sometimes the novel's main characters seem surprisingly similar, and other times they appear strangely aligned to the Western reader. Reader, the book is a bit like looking at in an intricate Chinese artwork from the era, precise line, perfect composition, and opulent coloration, yet also a window to an entirely different world. So let's start. It was originally written by Cao Quixing. I don't know how to actually pronounce his Chinese names, so sorry for that. So, Shishin, a summary part one is that Shishin, a worthy citizen, has a peculiar dream. In a dream, a Taoist priest and a bald-heeled Buddhist monk wander through a unfamiliar land, discussing a magical jade stone known as the precious jade of spiritual understanding. They share this jade stone with Yin, and as the dream concludes, Yin sees his companions passing through all a tall stone archway with the inscription, "The visionary limits of the great void." On the pillar, he reads a couplet. Later, Shenin helps his neighbor Tunan, a poor but educated young man, by funding this journey at Peking for the state examination. Unfortunately, Shenem faces severe misfortune in the subsequent year. His only child is kidnapped and his city house is destroyed by fire. Light, distressed and bitter, he retreats to the countryside to eke out a living. One day, a tourist traveler appears, expressing thoughts on the fleeting nature of worldly possession and happiness. Shenin decides to abandon everything and accompanies the tourist on a journey to an unknown. Due to respectful behavior, Yusun loses his position at the imperial court and sends Ear traveling before becoming the tutor of Black Jade, a noble's family only daughter to whom he is distantly related. In this new role, Yusun discovers peculiar details about the Chia clan. For instance, Madam Shi, Lady Dogger, grandson to area Lord Chia Pao Yu, was born with a sparkling jade stone in his mouth. The boy is preoccupied with thoughts of girls such as the distress of his father, Chia Ching. When Blackhead mother passes away, her grandmother, Lady Dogger, takes the 12-year-old to the family mansion where the grandeur astounds her. The place is adorned with marble lions, golden dragons, and vibrant pavilions. Payu, her cousin, stands out in splendor with his perfect features and emotive gaze. Immediately, Blackjet selects him as a soulmate. One day, Payu knew Yunap in Kongshing pleasantly scented a well-furnished room. In his dream, this encounter as the goddesses of discernment, who explains her role in resolving love, conflicts, and urges him to prevent his honorable ancestors' family following from family into ruin. She then leads him to luxurious chamber where he meets a girl resembling his beautiful cousin Precious Virtue in appearance and black jade in demeanor. They engage in pleasure of intimate relation for the first time. Upon waking, Pao Yung finds his maid Tish Jen beside him, who understands what happens and suggests exploring the real version of the game. Later, Payu notices that Precious Virtue wear a golden medallion with a saying complementing the one on his jade stone. Since Payu dreams Coaching has been gravely ill, the night of her death, she appears to her girlfriend Phoenix, imploring her to invest parts of the family fortune into a foundation. True, she concedes the Chia clan is still strong and powerful, but in good times they should provide for bad times that are inevitably coming, just like blossoming is followed by decay. The foundation is meant to ensure the continuation of the family school and the quarterly sacrifices to the ancestor. But Phoenix ignores her dream. She couldn't care less about establishing a family foundation. Phoenix exalts herself in questionable transaction to accumulate health. Following elaborate mourning ceremonies, the family learns that Payu's sister's beginning of spring has been elevated to the status of a noble and virtuous imperial wife of the first rank. Subsequently, the emperor issued a decree permitting the first and secondary wives to visit their families, aiming to the strength filial piety constructed in commences immediately to ensure beginning of spring as suitable accommodations. The outcome is a splendid park featuring shimmering lakes, cascading waterfalls, winding paths, flowery fields, detached farmhouses, and magnificent palaces. Payu excels at creating clever mottos and inspiration for various lookout points, rest area, and pavilions a week before beginning of springs planned visit for the Lantern Festival. The Imperial Chief Eunuch inspects the ground and stations eunuchs for guard duty, overwhelmed with emotion after years of isolation in the palace. Beginning of spring names the impressive grounds Grand View Garden. She invites her brother Payu and his cousins to poetry contest to immortalize the park's different places in beautiful verses. Trusted at the prospect of the park falling into disuse after her brief visit. Beginning of spring orders Payu, his cousins, and the maids to come into the view living quarters. Payu's half brother, Chia Huan, intentionally pours hot wax on Payu's face out of envy and malice. Chia Huan's mother, Chia Cheng's secondary wife, is reprimanded for her unruly son's action. Feeling humiliated, she seeks revenge and asks the sorceress Mother Ma to cast a spell on both Payu and her rival, Phoenix. The spell takes effect that afternoon, causing them to behave as if possessed, speaking incoherently, ragging through the park, and rolling their eyes, despite attempts with holy water and magic, incantations, nothing works. The family prepares for the funeral when a limping tourist had a scrufly Buddhist monk arrive, requesting Payu's jade stone. The Buddhist explains that under the influence of worldly desire, the jade stone has lost its power, With a magic spell, they restored its efficiency, and 30 days later, Payu and Phoenix are healed. I'm continuing with the summary part 2 as well. I'm not going to again divide it in two parts from now on. The relationship between Black Jade and Payu is consistently tumultuous. Black Jade harbors jealousy towards her cousin, precious virtue, and the mates, leading to understandings, heated quarrels, and tearful reconciliations. The situation worsens when Payu is caught attempting to seduce the mate. Goldring results in expulsion from the house. Devastated, Goldring takes her own life. Upon learning the incident, Payu father beats him severely until he loses consciousness. Madame Chem's Payu's mother intervenes just in time to save him from certain death. Now Blackgate's maid, who could test Payu's feeling for her mistress by falsely informing that Blackgate will soon return to her home province. This news deeply affects Payu, causing him to fall secondary ill. After recovering, Blackgate hopes that Payu loves her so much as she loves him. Chia Ching, the prince hermit who lived in the mountain hermitage for many years, has passed away. During the funeral ceremonies, Phoenix's husband, Chia Len, becomes enamored with his cousins, the two unmarried and exceptionally beautiful Yu sisters. Fed up with his domineering and jealous wife, he decides to take the second Miss Yu and his secondary wife. The fact the girl is already promised to someone else don't pose much of a problem as the family of Vendetta is poor. And Chialen compensates the lad's father for breaking off the engagement. To avoid Phoenix's anger, he secretly marries the second Yu. His second wife is expected to live discreetly and in a shared love nest, small house near the Eastern Palace. For a while, everything goes well. The only issue arises with the third Yu sister who has fallen in love with the cold knight and refuses to consider any other marriage proposals. Wanting to get rid of the third Yu, Chialin pursues the cold knight to become engaged to her. However, at the last moment, the cold knight backs out, claiming he has already promised to another bride chosen by his aunt. Having overheard their conversation, the third Yu pretends to return the sword given to the betrothal gift, but instead draws and stabs herself in the throat. Now regretful, the cold knight receives a widow, visits from the deceased in his dream, revealing that the goddess of disenchantment sent her to register cases of unhappy love and unpaid debts. Upon waking, he finds a limping Taoist priest beside him. The cold knight cuts off his hair and follows the stranger. Upon discovering her husband's secret marriage from a servant, Phoenix plots a series of schemes while he is away. Pretending understanding the affection, she convinces the second Yu to move with her, portraying herself as a kind-hearted first wife. However, she secretly instructs her servants to torment the young woman. Phoenix then brings the brides, the Changs, to sue the Chia clan to be over breaking of the original engagement. When Chia Len returns with a 17-year-old concubine, a gift from a senior family member, Phoenix ruthlessly pits her rival against each other, spreading malicious gossip about the second Yu. Phoenix causes her distress, leading to a miscarriage induced by a daughter around by Phoenix. The stillborn child, a boy, would have been in the air her husband desired. Unable to endure further suffering, the second youth swallows a piece of crude gold to end her life. Trouble brews in the Grandview garden as the servant indulge in forbidden activities like gambling and theft, spreading vices throughout. During a life banquet hosted by Prince Chen, strong gets of wind sweep through the park and the doors of the spirit porch in front of temple of ancestors open and shut ominously, creating a sense of forbidding senior family member attempting to restore order by arguing the servants. Unfortunately, Pius' beloved waiting maid, Bright Cloud, becomes a victim. Despite her innocence, she is driven away while critically ill and soon succumbs to her condition. The once vibrant park falls into a decay. Cousin Tess of spring is wed into a harsh man and departs while precious virtue returns to live with her mother. After several years, Payu is completed to attend the family school once again. Blackjade's health is deteriorating. She coughs up blood and suffers nightmares of being separated from Payu. Convinced he is promised to someone else, she nearly starves herself to death. Fortunately, it turns out to be a misunderstanding and her good spirits return. Phoenix, as the lady dogger, decide to Payu needs as a stronger woman by his sides and secretly plans for him to marry Precious Virtue. In the midst of the winter, the withered side of a golden begonia tree unexpectedly blossoms. Many see this as an ominous sign, and fears comes true. Imperial wife, beginning of spring, succumbs to pneumonia, and Payu's magic stone vanishes. His personality undergoes a drastic change, turning him listless, feeble-minded, and dull. Upon learning of Payu's impending marriage to Perseus' virtue, Blade Jat succumbs and passes away. Meanwhile, the mentally unstable groom is misled into thinking that he will marry Blake Jade, which improves his condition, although he relapses into stupor upon seeing Precious Virtue on the bridal bed. They proceed with their wedding unexpectedly. The Minister of Finance and troop of soldiers and Barfils occupy the palace, searching and looting the premises. Several members of the Chia clan faces charges of abuse of office, fornication, and corruption. Phoenix is implicated in unserious dealings and private hoarding of money. The family has been living beyond their means and coffers are empty. Lady Dogger takes responsibility for the sins of her clan and distributes family treasures generously amongst her shocked and improvised relatives. Eventually, the emperor, showing mercy, transfers the princely title from the asset Xia to her brother Chia Cheng, allowing the family to face face. Shortly after, Lady Dogger and Phoenix passes away. Amidst the chaos, the Buddhist monk arrives and returns the magic stone, immediately restoring Payu's mental health. His spirit journeys to the gods of disenchantment, where he encounters the spirits of all the deceased girls and powerful women he once loved. Witnessing the transformation into grotesque, red-faced, and white-haired devils, Payu is frightened. The Buddhist monk explains that he is still bound by worldly desires and can only enter the realm of bliss once he achieves true awakening. Upon his father's request, Payu prepares for the state official examination and successfully passing and redeeming his family's reputation. However, he never returns home. Pyre appears to his father once in a monk's attire made of the monkey hair wool before silently drifting away with his companions, the Taoists and the Buddhists, into a snowy landscape. Thank you, everyone. And once again, Merry Christmas and enjoy your holiday. Bye bye.